We've got an issue, my 1975 Lincoln Continental. And the issue is the driver's side rear window will not go up or down. It was working and then it stopped working. I can hear the motor running and I could feel, I pulled the door panel, I could feel in there that the teeth were good on the regulator. So I figured something has happened with the motor, because we could push the window up and down in any position and it would not, the motor would not catch. That's kind of, you know, the teeth would have to have been bad all the way on the regulator for it not to catch in any spot. And I could feel, what I could feel of the regulator, the teeth felt good. So pull the regulator out. You have to drill 5 rivets to get it out, because it's riveted in, and we're gonna have to go back with bolts or rivets. I'll have to see if I have any rivets this large. If not, I'll probably get some because it's pretty tight. I'm trying to get a bolt in here, but we'll see. I'll show you, I'll quickly at the end of this briefly show you how to get the door panel off. I'll show you where those rivets are. It's really hard to miss because it's really the only rivets on there, the only big rivets at least. As far as getting them out, use whatever method you want. I tried to drill them at first and the stem of the rivet was super hard. It didn't want to drill. So I just took a cutting disc on my grinder and kind of cut basically like a plus sign in each one, which kind of deformed the middle, and then I was able to punch the center part out, and then I drilled the rest of the rivet out. It seemed like it was aluminum, or maybe it was metal, maybe it was steel, I don't know, but it cut the round, not the stem, the other part of the rivet cut really well, and I drilled it out. So that's how I did it. You can grind the whole thing out, drill it out if you get better bits than I do. However you want to do it. Dorman sells this kit 747-412, and it's supposed to be a new gear for this motor. So it's a whole little kit with a new cover and an O-ring and grease and bushings, and it was only like 15 bucks. It's quite a lot of stuff for 15 bucks. Big gear, little gear, a lot of stuff. So that's what all it came with. We're going to take these 3 bolts off, and that will expose the motor so we can see what we're looking at. What I think we're going to find is these teeth here are probably sheared off in one spot, and that's preventing it from grabbing, or they're sheared off all the way around, or this is metal here, but maybe our original was plastic and these are sheared off. I don't know. I think we're going to find something with broken teeth. So on bolted that, lifted the regulator off the motor. We've got 1 screw left to take out, and just kind of doing a quick comparison. It looks like in pretty good shape, or not in pretty good shape. We're matching up. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And maybe we can do this one-handed. Nope. Let me take that screw off and I'll bring you back. Okay, I've not pulled the cover off yet. Ooh. It is stuck on. There we go. Ooh. Look at that grease. What have we got here? Well, there's a gear down in there. It's a little worm gear setup. Will this just pull off? Yeah. So this just pulls off. Okay, so we've got that. That's this. That appears to be in good shape. Okay, I think they're supposed to be, here's our issue, I think there's supposed to be things in here, which would be There's no instructions on this. So I think what happens is these would supposed to be in there. Little rubber or nylon pieces. And that's what it's like a rides against that. So I think what's happening is since those are gone, we're basically skipping over. Let's see, we have any pieces of stuff left in here. I think there were things in here that are no longer here. A little flathead, but I think we got it. Yeah. I think because the teeth, looks like the teeth on that look fine. So it wasn't that the teeth, we probably could put it all back together and just put these in there and it would be fine. But ultimately, I think what our issue is the, these disintegrated. Now, this thing's kind of a pain to get apart, and the sad thing is, this is only one of the windows. Chances are, at some point in time, I'm gonna have to do the other three. They're all the same age as this one, so they're probably not far from this condition. So I'm gonna take some time, kind of clean this out, at least get all the, some of this I don't think is grease. I think some of it is whatever that nylon, or I don't know if it was nylon or rubber to begin with. The new ones look like they're nylon, but the old ones could have been rubber. Yeah, some of this is, because I think the grease itself is still pretty good. Yeah. So let me take some time and get this in a little better shape. Now, since we don't have instructions, I may try to look up some instructions, because what I don't know, so all this makes sense to me. The only thing that doesn't is this little O-ring. Where does that O-ring go? Does it go on the shaft, maybe? Well, after cleaning this thing up, I found our O-ring. So I did not find any instructions or anything, but I think now it's self-explanatory where the O-ring goes and the rest of the stuff as well. So picked out all the crunchy stuff. There's still a little bit of grease in there, but it's good grease, I guess. I'm not gonna get the rest of that out. I went over it with this little pick and just kind of, yeah, it's all good stuff. So we're gonna take and start lubing stuff up. Probably gonna put some gloves on, which means camera's gonna have to go away for a few minutes as we get greasy. But basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna grease this housing up, grease this gear up, then we're gonna slip, well, first, we're gonna pick that O-ring off. I'll use my little pick right there. We'll pick it off. We'll put our new O-ring on right there. And then grease everything up, slip this gear in place just like that. Then we're gonna take and slip these three pieces. Looks like, let's see, are they symmetrical? Let's make sure they're symmetrical. I think they are. Yeah. So those are going to go like that. Of course, there's going to be grease in here, and that grease will help hold them up against that edge like that, which will make slipping this part in easier. So then this will slip in like that. Of course, it's not wanting to do it because they're falling out of the way, or they're falling in the way. Once they have grease on them, they won't do that. But basically that'll slip all the way down. And then we're gonna put our cover on. So I'll show you all a few steps along the way, but we're gonna have to do all the greasy stuff first. So what I'll do is grease all in the housing and in here to hold these in place. And then I'll probably bring y'all back as I slip this in. I think that's a good spot. Wait to put your O-ring on until you put this gear on. So you can take the old O-ring off, slip this gear on. Of course, I lubed under it. I put lube in every tooth, or grease in every tooth of this white gear. I packed some in here, and then I would just kind of spread some evenly around in here, put some in these corners to hold these bumpers or whatever you want to call them. And then I kind of lubed up this gear. Just need lots of lube. And so once I did all that, then I just slipped this O-ring on, kind of lubed the shaft. I lubed it on the bottom part too. And now we're ready to slip this on. And I may need two hands to do it, but let's see. It doesn't look like it lines up. I mean, it looks like it. Give me a second. Sure, the fan's blowing on y'all, but I'm gonna need both hands. I'm gonna have to pull these away just a little bit so that they line up. We may even pull them out. Actually, I think that's a good idea. Put them like that. Sorry, I'm sure that's really loud in y'all's ears. Come on. Something like that. That might help it slide on. Yeah, I'm gonna need both hands. Give me a few minutes. I'll bring y'all back. Okay, I got it on, and it's a really tight fit in there. I'll show you how I did it. It may not be the right way, but I kept, it was just not wanting to, these were not wanting to cooperate. So I actually stuck them to this gear, stuck them in the indentions. So these little nylon bushings, the three of them, I stuck them in each indention with grease, then slipped it on and used this little, I don't know, this leather mallet to gently tap it on, and it went on. They slid right in between there. That seemed to work better than putting them in here first, because the gear itself was just running straight into them, whereas doing it like this, it seemed to kind of want to slide in. I would try it both ways. In my application, it seemed to be better to stick them to the gear and then just put it on there. You're also fighting that O-ring, because even without those three, I was just trying to check the fit, and it's kind of tight trying to get past that O-ring. So, whatever, try it both ways. But for me, it worked better sticking them to the gear and just gently tapping it on, and that worked really well. So now what's left is putting our new cover on. So I'm gonna clean that up, but it'll basically just go like that. We'll put that one little screw in it, and then we'll bolt it back to the regulator with the 3 screws. Now, we'll say, if you're doing this job, make sure you've got a good motor. Make sure, the motor itself runs, which I could hear the motor running. Motor sounded just fine. Don't just come in here and start replacing the gears without verifying that the motor itself works. I'm assuming if you're doing this, you probably had one that worked. You can hear it running, and it no longer moves the window, which was my case. But just make sure the motor's good. And you can get replacement motors from what I understand, but I mean, this thing is, there's the date code on it. Still works well. So, should even work better with some fresh lube in there. So I'm gonna wipe this down, bolt the cover on, and put it back in the car. All right, it's all back together. Just keep in mind, you are threading into some soft aluminum here. Don't go crazy on the torque. I mean, get them tight enough, but don't go crazy. Also lube the end of that motor shaft because it does kind of ride in this hole in the regulator. And I lubed up the teeth on the gear as well. I ran out of that lube it came with, but it looks like they were just using some kind of wheel bearing type grease, which is what I put in there. And I would recommend probably spraying maybe some fluid film or white lithium grease, some kind of a grease on all these pivot points. And it wouldn't hurt to just spray it along this gear as well and down in here. And I'm going to put some grease on the little track that this rides in, and maybe kind of try to shove some down in there or spray some down in there and just really lube this thing up, because you know the lube that's here, I mean it's still kind of greasy, but it doesn't hurt to have some more. So let me show you real quick where the rivets were. And it may, you know, if you're watching this for the motor rebuild, and it's not a 1975 Lincoln Continental, because they use this same setup on a lot of different ones, and that Dorman kit fits, I think, over 20 years worth of Ford window motors. Your application may be different. It's kind of why I just covered this part first, and now I'm showing you the car, because you may only be interested in the motor rebuild. So now let's go back to the car, and I'll show you what I did. So I'm going to show you on the passenger side door real quick. You're going to need to take these two screws out. Once you take those out, you're going to need to undo the there's two little nuts that hold the switch assembly here. You're going to need to take those off, and then that will allow this piece, this trim, ashtray, all that stuff, and there's plugs on the bottom of the cigarette lighter, and then there's a light in here that's got to get unplugged. All that's got to get unplugged, because you're going to have to take this off to be able to get the door panel off, you know, feed the wires back through the door panel, and this whole thing, this whole assembly won't fit. And so you do that, take your little door lock off, and then there's a screw right here. Take that screw out, and then behind it you've got your door handle. You can probably do this without taking the door handle off, but I took it off. There's one bolt that holds the door handle itself on, and then if you reach kind of back in here, you'll feel a little tab, and I'll show it to you on the other door. There's a little tab that kind of holds this trim piece here on. You're going to push that and then pull this piece off. Same thing over here. You're going to reach in, push on it, pull this piece off, and that frees up these two, or it gets them off. Back in here, you're going to have one screw that's going to hold the door panel on, and you're going to have a screw under this cover that holds the door panel on this side. Same thing over here. Under here, there's a screw that holds the door panel on. Once those three screws are off, your ashtray assembly is off, you're going to go along here, and there's metal clips that hold the door panel to the door. Be very careful here, because those metal clips, they break. I've actually got a pack of them. You can get them on eBay if you need some. But the back of the door panel is like cardboard as well, or it's like some kind of particle board. It's very delicate, and I was very delicate with the pry tool. Came in here, just slid the pry tool in and felt where the clips were and pulled out to pop the clips, you know, and just keep going around the door all the way except for the top. And once you get all those popped away and the door panel pulled away from the door, you can lift up on the door panel, and it'll come out at the top. That gets the door panel off. I'll show you the door panel. It's already off. So that makes a little more sense. So I've got the door panel just sitting in my boat here. Here's those clips. Like you can see, one of these broke. Here's a whole one. So since I've got a pack of these, I'll just replace the ones that broke. And then unfortunately, we had a couple that broke. Unfortunately, we had one that pulled through the door panel. So it looks like there may have been some water damage in this corner. Probably soften this up. So I will put a new clip here and kind of put some glue and then some tape over to help hold that clip, and hopefully we'll be good. That's what I did on the front. Had the same issue on the front. So looking at the upside, let's turn this about like that. So here, this is where these trims were. This is where that clip is. So I kind of reach in here and just push on this clip and kind of pull that out. Same thing. Well, you can't get it. Can't really get over here. So you can just pull this one off. I'll show you those if you're interested. Bolt through here. This was behind the door handle. Bolt, and then a bolt right there, and of course right there. Now I'll show you the door panel real quick, or those trim pieces. So real quick, here's that whole ashtray assembly. These are the two nuts you take off, and that allows the whole switches and plug to pull off. This is a good time to make sure your switches work and replace them if they don't, because you're right there. And then you've got, the lighter and the light. All that's this stuff here. Into the lighter, the positive, then the ground for the lighter, and then the light. And that gets that out of the way. Here's your two little wood trim pieces. This is that clip I'm talking about. I kind of get my finger in there and just push on it and then pull off. On that other side, you can't really get to it, and you can just kind of be gentle with it and pry it off, from the side here. I don't know, I may have these flipped on which one's which, but it makes sense when you go to put them back on. They only go one way. So yeah, let's go over the rivets. So when you've got your door panel off, there's also a paper cover here that goes over the door panel. Pull that off, be gentle with it, because it will disintegrate. You've got two rivets here, and one rivet up here. And they're gonna look something like this, of course, with the center in it. I could not drill the center out, so I took my grinder and just kind of cut. I'll touch those up. And nicked the door in a couple spots, but it's under the door. It doesn't really matter, under the door panel. But I'll touch it up just so they don't rust. I kind of just came in here and plunged, cut the head of it off, and then just used a punch, drove the head through, and then drilled. Once the head was gone, the rest of it's aluminum, I think, and I was able to just drill them out. So pretty easy. I'm gonna reach in the door panel, or reach in the door, pull those pieces out. I need to go to the store and get some new rivets. I think I'm just gonna put rivets back on it and not bolts, and should be good to go. So I'm gonna go do all that. There's no reason to show that. It's gonna go in just like it came off. I've got the window taped up. This seemed to be the best spot to be able to get the regulator out with it in the up position. You can slide that little ball wheel looking thing I said I was going to lube up, slide it off the end of the shaft, and then just take that part of it and pull up through this hole. You've got a nice little area to pull that whole regulator out right here with the window taped in the up position. Make sure to tape it up. You don't want this thing falling down, especially like if you're drilling, or I don't know, if you drill it, end up, of course, if the regulator's still attached, but if you, I don't know, you don't want this thing falling. So tape it up. And that's it. Not too bad of a job. If it wasn't such close clearances there, I would probably just bolt the thing back in, but I don't think I have any bolts short enough that it's not gonna hit the regulator. They'd have to be maybe 1/2 inch bolts would clear. I don't know, but it's super easy to put rivets in, so we're just gonna go back with rivets. We can drill them out again if we need to, but I think this fix will last a good while. And once I buy the pack of rivets to do this, probably the same on all the doors. So anyway, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and subscribe for more. Quick little bonus footage: Harbor Freight rivet gun and rivets, and it looks like new. Like I said, I'll touch these little spots up, but we got a working window again. And everything all lubed up. Fluid film.